Hi, you're watching With the Contest Queen, where the winning begins with me, Carolyn Willman. And today I have Mitch Aunger. I hope I got that right, Mitch. And he is the owner of giveawayrocket.com. And it's very interesting that we have Mitch on today because he is a fellow sweepstakes marketer. So this show is going to be a little bit different. And before we talk to Mitch, let me tell you what we're giving away on this show. We're giving away a copy of my book, How to Win Cash, Cars, Trips, and More. So if you don't have it yet, it's a definite must enter to win this prize. Stay tuned because I don't tell you how to enter until the end. So you have to learn first and then you can enter. So, and all the URLs that we talk about, anything we talk about in the show, will be posted in the video description below. Or it will also be on when I also post this to my blog. So there'll be many ways for you to easily click. So Mitch, thanks for being with us today.
How are you? I'm awesome. I'm stumbling just like you. But we're both wearing blue.
I know. How did that happen? We didn't even talk before we got dressed today.
It's a freak coincidence of great minds working together.
Lovely. So now listen, this is, I know you said this is a long story. So in advance, when I do an interview, I send people questions and they send me some answers back so we know what we're going to talk about. Now, I kind of want the long version. So my question to him, my first question to Mitch was, tell us a little bit about your background and how you became a digital sweepstakes marketer. And he said, it's a long story, but I can make it short, but maybe not too short. So how did you get here?
The semi-sweet version of my story, Carolyn, is that I used to work for Boeing as a computer programmer. When I went to college, I fell in love with computer programming, and that was so long ago, it was like, let's not even go, dinosaurs were alive. That's how long ago it was. And so I worked for Boeing for 32 years, and one of my hobbies was photography, and I wanted to learn how to shoot video, right? So fast forward to 2008, and I saw an article by the guy who runs a website called Mac Rumors. Now, I know you're a Windows person, so you've probably never seen Mac Rumors in your life. But he wrote an article about how he had been running this website and it was making him 3 times more than his day job. So he quit his day job. And he said towards the end, he said, by the way, I was a practicing physician with my own private practice and I sold that because I was making more money running a website. I was like, okay, that's me. I want to be doing that. And fast forward, I could get really detailed, but a new camera came out. I started a blog about this new camera. And then Boeing said, we don't need you anymore. We're going to send your job over to Malaysia because it's cheaper to do programming over there. Anyway, long story short, so I got laid off, but I had this website that was working fairly well. So long story short, they gave me, I keep saying that, don't I? They gave me 6 months to figure out what I was going to do. And I went to my wife and I said, look, this blog seems to be doing fairly well. Let me see if I can make this really do well enough to support our family instead of going back and doing a day job for the man or whatever. And long story short, that ended up working. For the last 9 years, I've been running that website and it has been feeding my family. About a year and a half, 2 years ago, I had been doing giveaways. So it's a photography and video blog, right? So vendors have been paying me for banner ads on my website. So I good traffic, which means they pay me good money for the banner ads. And as a service, I started doing giveaways because I thought, well, this will keep the readers interested. It'll keep you interested. It'll get your products in front of people and blah, 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 blah. And so I started doing giveaways. And the guy that's helping me with my advertising, the banner ads, he said, well, you should be charging them for that. And I was like, they're not going to pay me any money to run a giveaway for them. And he says, Mitch, yes, they will. He said, if you convert those leads that you're giving them to a dollar figure, they're going to find out that those leads are so much cheaper than running the Facebook ads and everything else that they're doing. They're going to want to pay you for that. So I was like, okay. So I tried it. I asked one of the vendors if they would pay me on top of getting the leads. And they're like, well, yeah, what you're doing for us for free is crazy. So I started charging for it. And long story wrapping up is that I'm now doing more marketing through giveaways than my old website. And that's why I started Giveaway Rocket, was because I want to get to the point where that's feeding my family. Because, I mean, photo and video is a good niche to be in. But if I can be doing giveaways for any kind of brand or any kind of market, that's a much bigger space to work in. So I figure there's a lot more opportunities there than sticking with a very crowded photo video world, especially considering the people that are in the photo video world seem to not have a whole lot of marketing dollars. They're always like, oh, well, we can't afford. Can you give us a discount on that giveaway? And I'm like, no. So that's the long story. That's how I got into content marketing and giveaway marketing and that kind of stuff.
So you've been doing that. So how long have you had Giveaway Rocket?
I started it as an official business about a year ago, about March of 2017.
A year ago. So when you're posting a giveaway, now is it only on your site or do you post it other places?
Well, that's one of the things that, it's a great question. It's one of the things that I ended up telling most of my vendors that I was limited because I started just doing my website's called Planet 5D. And I started just doing my giveaways there because that's the market they were in. Yeah. And I was doing them for 2 weeks. And it basically sort of dawned on me that if you do one vendor at a time, and that's, in my opinion, the right way to do it on a particular website, would be that you dedicate your 2 weeks time to that vendor. You don't try to do 2 or 3 giveaways at the same time, because that would confuse your readers as well as confuse your email list and everything else. So that means that I can only really sort of do one giveaway every 2 weeks or 2 a month. And so that limits, me to basically 24 giveaways. Right. And so the light bulb went off and I went, well, good golly, I've made a whole bunch of connections with other websites. Some of them have bigger audiences and some of them have little or smaller audiences. And so what I started doing last year was starting working with them to say, look, I've got this service. I can offer this service to you and we'll split the different blah, blah, blah. So I'm trying to do more partnerships. And something that I have going on in March, I actually have 5 different photographers that are combining together to bring in one giveaway because they want to bring in people to all of their lists. And so we're doing this big 5 partner thing starting in March, which is going to be interesting.
Oh, that'll be fun. Yeah, that's actually a good way from a marketing standpoint to do it, a collaboration, because it's cheaper for everybody and
right.
They all benefit from everybody else's traffic.
Right. So that's kind of where I want it. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's really cool. So now on your giveaway blog, let me try that again. On Giveaway Rocket, I know, tongue-tied today.
Yeah.
On Giveaway Rocket, is it only going to be photography, or are you starting to get other clients?
I'm branching out into all kinds of clients. And it becomes kind of hard because, everybody tells you that to niche down and make it the small thing and start there. And realistically, what I really want to do is I want to do more partnerships. I want to do more specific blogs or vendors. And then I still sort of want to reach out to more folks that are on the entrant side to be able to, because one of the things that I'm now doing, I could talk about this for hours. I did a giveaway for a client in February. No, it is February, January. You see, I don't know what it is. Is it Friday that's got us all messed up? So they were giving away a business trip to Hawaii. And so I was running this campaign for them, and they said, well, we know you've got a pretty big list. So I've got a list of 30,000 people that have entered my previous photo and video and other kinds of giveaways. Because I've always kept those as well as giving them to the vendor, depending upon what the contract says, blah, blah, blah. And so he said to me, he said, well, why don't you go ahead and see if your list would be interested in this? And if you get enough entries, maybe you'll win the contest, right? Maybe you'll win the trip. I'm like, oh, so I get to play both sides, right? So that was the first time for me entering as a contestant in my own campaign. So I could watch the statistics and see all the stuff going on behind the scenes. And I ended up being the number one referrer in this campaign. So it's kind of fascinating because I ended up with 24% of all the leads. I was like, holy cow, now I know what it's like to be on the contestant side, right? As well as on the other side. And so I've realized the value of even more of my own list. So I've started being able to offer that list maybe to potential clients to come in and say, well, okay, you want to do a giveaway with me, I'll run the campaign, but I'll also rent my list for you because I've got this list of 30,000 people that have entered campaigns before. So it's given me a whole new opinion, an option, and a way of thinking about things that I'd never had before. So that campaign worked really well. The client was happy. I learned a lot. I did not win the trip to Hawaii, but a friend of mine did. Somebody who...
Something that I teach people, that just because you have the most entries in the pot, it still only takes one to win.
That's right.
And I've done that, your exact thing, where I was in the lead at one point, that I ended up in second place, but the guy who was in fifth place actually won the contest because it was a random draw. But it doesn't necessarily mean you'll win. But it's still fun, isn't it?
Yes. Yes, it is. And it's frustrating when you don't win. So I know what that part's like. But because I run the campaigns too, like you do, I often record a winner's video, primarily for two reasons. Depends upon the client. But primarily I record when we do the drawings so that I have documentation such that if anybody ever came back and said, well, you didn't do that legally or whatever, I've got a video record of the actual drawing. But I also specifically point out to people when we do the drawings, well, look, this person only had one entry. So like you said, yes, it only takes one entry to win. Now, sometimes you get better odds if you've got more entries, but
it doesn't guarantee.
Doesn't guarantee a squat.
So that's really cool. Now, as a marketer, I'm nosy, and I wanted to know, like, what are some of your success stories? Like, you've already told us some, like, you kind of already went ahead on the question, because that to me sounds like it was a huge success for the client.
Yes, it was. And it wasn't about the leads for them. I mean, obviously it is. Because one of the things, and I know you know this, but it's always about the offer, right? Because the client wants the right kind of leads to enter, right?
Right.
And we specifically targeted that campaign as a business trip to Hawaii. It wasn't just freewheeling, anybody bring your family kind of thing. It was for a specific event. I believe, I'm sorry?
Oh, I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah.
Great. Because, I've entered those where it's, hey, we're giving away a ticket and the plane fare and everything to this conference somewhere, right. Business conference. Well, I know not as many people I enter because I'm like, oh, that would be great for networking and making connections. And
exactly.
I can do that. But yeah, I know the average sweeper isn't going to enter because they don't want to go to, Business Conference 101 in Seattle or where, whatever it is.
Exactly. And so that kind of leads into the story. I mean, that was a very big success. They're very happy with the leads because they believe they're targeted leads. Um, I had another campaign that finished just yesterday, actually, because today's the 15th or the 16th. It was on Valentine's Day. And she had asked me early on, she said, well, I want to run this campaign, and she's going to do it herself. So I was just answering questions for her. And she says, well, what I want to do is I'm in the equestrian business. We have a directory of horse stuff, horsey, I call it horsey business. And she said, well, I want to give away a $250 Amazon gift card. And I was like, whoa, notice the reference there, the horse reference, you get it? Boom. But I said, no. That's going to give you a whole bunch of the people who want to win an Amazon gift card and buy diapers or whatever. That's not going to get you the targeted leads. And so we talked about it for quite a while. And she went away, and she actually came up with an idea that I'd never thought of. So I learned something from her.
Yeah, something it's good to think about it. I find that sometimes if you sleep on it, literally sleep on it overnight, the idea will come.
Yes, and that's very true. So she came back to me the next day and she said, can we add a field on the entry form? So we're collecting first name and email address, right? She said, what if we put, what is the name of your local tack shop? And the giveaway prize became a $500 gift card for that particular tack shop, which is a horsey thing, right?
Right.
Tack and feed store. So I was like, holy cow, that's brilliant, because that really means that the people that are entering your campaign they have to come up with the name of a feed and tack store. Now they could theoretically put in Joe Blow's feed store, right?
Yeah, technically they could Google it and find one near them and put it in. But then if you don't have a horse or another animal that you could use that money at the shop, it really isn't worth centering.
Exactly.
So, yeah, it's going to narrow the field down to targeting.
And guess what it did? It gave her a list of people to go talk to, because her website's a directory of tack and feed stores and other people that are selling horsey products. So she's now adding to her list of vendors.
Yeah, so she can call and she goes, oh, she can look at the entries and go, oh, I don't have that tack shop on my list. That's
exactly.
Joe. I'm going to call them.
Yeah, I thought it was brilliant. I was like, holy cow, that's brilliant.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta think of it. The other place that I like to, and I was talking, we talk, usually when I interview, we talk off camera first or on the phone, and then we do the show. And one of the things that we talked about was the rules. The rules have to be locked down tight too, because, she's wants horsey people, for example, but there's also a certain region. Like, what if she only wants 3 states, or what if she only wants the continental US, right? You need to make sure those rules are locked down, so you're not getting people from Canada or Mexico or Europe or Australia or wherever entering, because, you want to keep that narrow focus.
Yes.
Helps if the rules are, sometimes I've seen rules down to certain phone number area codes or zip codes that only people in those zip codes or regions can enter.
And that's one of the things that in the campaigns that I see people that come to me and ask for help, and I'm like, where's your terms and conditions? And they don't even have them. I'm like, okay, whoa, time out. You got to have that.
Yeah, so my number one rule for contesters is always read the rules. And I have the converse advice for marketers. My number one tip is always lock down your rules.
Yes.
And on my last Facebook Live, I was answering questions, and people were sending me questions saying, well, if they're posting a giveaway on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, can I enter all 3? Because they're not clear. Is that 3 entries or is it 1 contest? And I go, guess what? Write the sponsor and say this isn't clear. And enough people do that, maybe next time they run a contest, they'll figure out they need rules.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Well, so
clear, email the sponsor. And then after a while, they go, maybe we should do something about this.
Is it okay if I asked you a question?
Yeah, this is fun. I like this.
So in terms of a contester, what is your perception of how much they value the trustworthiness when they're looking at a campaign? I mean, because you and I both know that the terms and conditions really have to be there, but do most people entering campaigns, do they care? How much do they care about trust?
So, I did an interview once with Rafflecopter, and they wrote a great blog post called "Stop Hating on the Sweepers," because, you know, I won the radio that's behind me.
Nice.
But all the other business marketing stuff, like the binders and stuff I use for work, I paid for those. Like, I don't win everything. You know, the computer I'm on, I had to buy it. My cell phone, I paid for it. Like my car, you know, all the groceries in my fridge, you know, 99% of my life is paid for, you know.
Right.
I earn it, and I try new products. You know, I get a sample of some shampoo, or like, you know, I win a prize pack, and I'm like, oh my God, look how amazing my hair is. Guess what? When I go to the store next time, guess what I'm buying?
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? Like, it gives you an opportunity to try stuff and find brands that you never heard of before, because that means their marketing is working.
Right.
And so I think companies don't want sweepstakers entering. But here's the thing, I always ask them, okay, so if none of the sweepers enter, who's going to enter?
None.
Like, and then I also did a blog post on this. Okay, so where do sweepers come from? You can ask your clients this. If they ever tell you that, you ask them, well, do you know where sweepers come from? You as a marketer are doing a good job. So Joe enters your sweepstakes and he wins. And now he goes, well, this is amazing. I wonder what else I can win. And you've just made a sweepstaker. And I get mad at the marketers because it's like they're the drug dealers. They're handing out the crack and they're pissed when people get up. It's like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? You can't get mad that people are hooked on something that you created. And if sweepers don't enter, who's entering? Yes, you're going to get, you know, people here and there, but you're not going to get the numbers. And if you've been watching over the years, like, you've probably seen it because you've been doing this about 10 years now, right? Did I get the number right?
Yes.
So you've been doing this about 10 years. So you've seen the change. Like, the last entry blank that I saw in a store to enter, to pick up and fill out, mail in, was in 06.
Really?
Yeah. Because I remember watching them like dwindle and dwindle and dwindle and then disappear. So it went from mail-in to all online. And then social came in and it went. And people are complaining because there's not the huge sweepstakes that there used to be. But companies are taking their same marketing budget now and going, okay, we're not going to do 2 promotions this year. We're going to do 30. And we're going to do Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, and 1 online and 1 on our email and 1 here, and they're just dividing that same budget up, like, you know. And that's why you're not seeing. I found, where did I find it? I ended up with a bunch of these old cookbooks, and I was flipping through them just to see if there's any recipes I wanted to take. They're the little wee paper ones, and I found an insert for an ad for a contest from the like early 80s.
Nice.
And it had like 3 cars and the big square televisions they were giving away and the microwaves and they had, like, it was so crazy. Right? They don't do those anymore. You never see contests where they're giving away like all that. Well, actually, that's not true. There are some. There are some. Like, we have Canada for several weeks at this time of year. They do something called Roll Up the Rim, and with Tim Hortons, and they give away like 50 cars and trips and stuff. But they have, if you go and read the odds, I think there's, I don't know how many millions of prizes, but the odds are ridiculous. Like, you're better off buying a lottery ticket.
Yeah, of course.
Really, it's a seeded contest, so it's really not any different than Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, where you have to find the winning ticket.
Nice.
It's literally tens of millions of cups. Like, I think there's over 36 million cups printed for the contest.
Wow.
Like, it is massive. And it's across the country. And actually, there's Tim Hortons in the US now on the East Coast.
Right.
So it's across the board. It's crazy. And then they give you the odds. That's why it's actually sometimes interesting to read the rules.
Oh, yeah.
Because you'll see all those things that you don't notice. You're like, oh, they're giving away this many in Ontario. Oh, this many is in, BC. This many people in New York. This many in. So you know what your odds are per province and per state and per. And then I've heard that they divide them amongst the cups. Now, I've had no proof of this, but I heard the big prizes are on the large and extra large. You won't win a car on a small.
Well, it kind of makes sense from their side, but
I don't know if it's true, but I only get the large and extra large. I don't want to chance it.
The last time I saw a paper entry form was at the local mall. It was probably a year ago, and they had a car sitting there, and it was one of the new cars, and it had, the form, you fill out the form, drop it in the box. And I did what you did, and I looked at the entry, the rules in the tiny, tiny, tiny fine print, and it said, now this was last year, the car will be awarded in December of 2018. So it was a year and a half before they were going to give the car away. And I was like, who in the world would enter? Well, of course, nobody reads the rules, right? Very few people. And so most people are dropping their name in there, and they're getting all kinds of emails sent to them now.
Yeah, see, I wouldn't do that one because I know that I would end up on some list, and my email would be sold. So there's a difference, companies like Fortune 500 companies that are running sweepstakes, and clients you have, like the big photography clients, like, the Canons and the Nikons and the, all these companies, they're spending a lot of money to get that list. They're not about to sell it. Like, even you just said you don't sell your list. Right. You make it part of your package that when you create a promotion, part of the fee that you are charging the client is you will send it out to your list. You are not giving the client your list.
Correct.
You are sending it to an email from you to these people who are expecting your email with information about this giveaway, but you are not selling those names. And why? Because you took a long time to build that list.
Exactly.
And those names are valuable, and those companies aren't about to give it away.
Yep. Exactly.
So that's why I don't have a fear of entering all the sweepstakes that I do, because I know the companies, the big ones, they're spending a lot of money to obtain those names. They're not giving them away. They're not selling them. They're, that's not what they're doing. They are spending their marketing dollars to connect to you.
Do you have any kind of an estimate in your head as to how what percentage of contesters, is that the word you used earlier?
Well, I use there's different terms, so I'll clarify it for you now, because actually I have people asking that. So there's sweepers, contesters, and compers, and it's all based on the lingo. So a sweeper is somebody who likes to enter sweepstakes, and that's American, because you enter sweepstakes in the US.
Right.
In Canada, we enter contests, so we're called contesters. And the reason we don't enter sweepstakes is because in Canada, sweepstakes are illegal. Right. And some brilliant lawyer figured a loophole in the rules that because contests require skill. So let me take a step back. There's lotteries, sweepstakes, and contests. A lottery requires a consideration for a chance at a prize. And a sweepstakes and a contest have one removed. So sweepstakes is there's no consideration, but you get a chance at a prize. And a contest is usually something like, well, you probably have a lot of those, like photography contests. A lot of them in the old days, you pay an entry fee and It's judged. So there's no skill involved. There's a consideration and a prize. And then, so in Canada, we enter contests because that's why when we win in the affidavit, we have to or even sometimes on the entry form, we have to fill out a skill testing question, which then by legal definition makes it a contest, not a sweepstakes, and it can be held in our country.
Right.
And nobody's ever bothered to change the laws, which is silly. So we call ourselves contesters, and in Australia and the UK, they are called compers because they enter competitions, which is the same. But we're all doing the exact same thing.
Right. And
there's a little history lesson.
Thank you. So let me finish the question, and that's actually something I wrote to you because there's people are constantly discussing what the right word is. And it turns out that the more I look into it, the more I look into say what people will say contest in Europe, for example, but they mean a sweepstake.
Yeah, so it's all the same thing. So, and when I write people, I mix the words because that way I use sweepstakes, contest, and giveaway. Because to me, they're all the same thing. Right. And when I use that lingo, then I'm not saying the word sweepstakes. Like if I'm writing a report for a client, I don't want to use the word sweepstakes 50 times.
Right.
So I change the words up. So they still get the gist of it, but it's all the same thing in the report.
Right. So the question I was asking is, if you were to, would you be able to estimate what percentage of sweepers enter to actually go read the rules? Or do they just go, I'm going to enter?
Well, I don't have the current stat. When I started writing my first book, the stat was 2%.
Wow, really? That low?
I would think it's higher now because a lot of times short rules are included. Right up front. So, because really all you're looking for, unless it's judged and there's, like let's just say it's a pure sweepstakes.
Right.
You're looking for who's eligible. Like, is it open to my country? Like, is it open to Canada and the US or just Canada? Is New York, Florida, and Rhode Island excluded? Or is Hawaii and Alaska sometimes excluded? Like, you got to read, is it continental US? Like, you got to read.
Right.
Then you need to know how many times you can enter and who can enter. So is it just me one time? Is it once per person per day? So sometimes,
right.
Where is it? Is it one time per household? Sometimes I get excited. I see a prize. I go enter me and then I'd enter my ex, which some people feel is cheating, by the way. But I've talked to sponsors and they don't, as long as you're following the rules, they don't care if you enter other people in your household or your best friend, right? Say, for example, because it makes their numbers go up, which makes them look good. And as long as you're not cheating, it doesn't matter. It just increases your odds of winning.
Yeah,
I've done that. There's a big prize, like a red carpet event in our area that I'd want to go to, and I'd go and enter like 20 people, and I phone them all and go, okay, if you win, you're taking me. I'm your +1. No, there's no questions here. I'm your +1. You understand this, right? So, and I haven't won yet. So, but anyway, I put the effort out there. So, you gotta have that in there. And then it's also, when does it end? Like, so if it's one time per person per day, but I don't know when it ends, how long am I going to be doing this? Like you said, that one there's not giving away till December. That's the other reason I wouldn't enter. It's too long.
It's too long. Yeah. I brought the entry form home to be able to go, see, I would never enter this.
That's a good idea.
But
yeah, I think example of bad marketing.
Yeah, it is. I think that the trust value is very important. I look at campaigns all the time that I see other people doing, and I'm like, how do you get any entries? Because there's no way in hell I would ever enter this. I mean, I saw one that said, was a trip to Saudi Arabia, and it said visa is included. I'm like, what does that mean? And there were no terms and conditions. There were no dates. And
I know the visa is included because you need to go to the consulate with your passport and get the visas. And sometimes they're expensive depending on the country.
Of course. But
so they're including that as part of the prize. But again, when something's that detailed, then I'd want to read the full rules, and if there's none, then I wouldn't enter because I'm like,
See,
Sometimes
I'm
I
with you.
go, are you getting any traction on this? Because, you know, you really should hire me.
Exactly.
Promotions.
But there wasn't in that one. There wasn't even a way to contact them.
Well, that's
So
creepy. I would never enter.
exactly. Why would you give up your email address for that?
Oh, that's a good tip, by the way. I'm going to inject a tip here.
Uh-oh.
I
Warning.
always tell people to have an email address just for entering sweepstakes.
Why?
Well, because you don't want your emails from work or your emails from your Aunt Millie or on your personal to get mixed in with the other ones. So I have one just for entering sweepstakes. So I have that one for all my newsletters that I like to get, you know, when there's sales and there's certain companies I like to check their emails. I do actually read them, shocker. And I know. And then there's the one I use for sweepstakes. So if I get a congratulatory email, it's only going to be in that address.
Nice.
So I tell people, have a separate email address just for entering sweepstakes.
And monitor that email address.
Oh my God, yes! And I forgot, and I set up a new one for a friend, and I was checking it, and I didn't check spam, and the congratulatory email for some like vitamin packages came in, and I didn't see it because I wasn't checking spam.
Well,
I'm like, no, and then I emailed them and said, did I miss out? Because they said you got it back in 48 hours, and it was 4 days. And they said, sorry, we drew somebody else. I'm like, damn.
I had that happen for a $600 item where somebody wasn't checking his email, and I keep sending emails going, you've got 2 days to respond, you've got 24 hours to respond, and I didn't hear anything. And this is one thing as on the promotion side scares the hell out of me, is that somebody's going to come back and go, well, you told me I won, so you better fricking give me that prize. Okay, I didn't do it in the right number of days. I'm like, but you know, their rules are rules. But, you know, some people are lawsuit happy. Thankfully, this guy replied to me and said, I'm sorry, I was on vacation and I wasn't checking my email. So he was okay with it. But I was like, oh, man.
Yeah, I've heard of people that has happened to. And it's very frustrating.
Yes.
That's why I like that they have like these Roam Like Home packages now on the cell phone. So there's no excuse.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
Put it in your bundle. Sometimes they're, you know, a few dollars a day, but it's worth having it. And you don't miss anything.
Yep.
The other thing is, and so I would check every day. That's the thing. I can't go on vacation 100%. Like all of because I work for myself. So I do need to check emails, you know, and just say, hey, I'm away. Can I get back to you on, you know, Monday? So
Right.
that people don't think you're ignoring them. But also, I don't want to miss that winning phone call or that winning email.
Exactly.
I know. It's like, no, I can't lose out.
If you're entering a campaign, if they ask for an email or for a phone number, does that deter you from entering?
Oh, no. I always give out my cell. I have my cells for everything. I don't have a home phone. So when I got a divorce and I moved out, I cut it out. No cable, no
Nice.
home, no landline. Just a cell phone and internet. What more do you need?
Nice. Do you make the assumption? I mean, I've shied away from some of those because I keep thinking that they're going to just start blasting me with phone spam. Does that concern you?
I don't get that. You know who actually phone spams me the most? And it's from my business. It's Google.
Really?
They
Yes.
call all the time and go, hey,
your listing is
monetizing your Google account. You need to do AdWords. I'm like, no, I don't. Click.
I get those all the time.
Market to me the most. It's Google.
That's astounding.
Anybody else? And I answer every call. This is something that people tell me. They go,
no.
oh, it's this private number. I don't answer. I'm like, I answer. You just don't know who it is.
Not me.
I do, because I've had business calls. They say, oh, we're looking for you, and they hire me. So I'm not missing out on work.
True.
I get winning phone calls. Hey, this is so-and-so from this radio station. I answer every call because I don't know. If it's a junk or a spam, like if it's something, I rarely have the junk calls. It's always work or somebody I don't recognize or somebody with a question or a company that wants to hire me.
Cool. Well, good for you.
I answer every call. I don't know why people just don't answer their phone.
I'm one of those people. So,
Well, now you might change. Like, what's going to happen to you? Here's a question. What's going to happen to you if you answer the phone?
it's primarily a distraction from what I'm working on, and I try not to be distracted, although I am constantly. So
Yeah, well, I swear I have ADD, so that's why I'm good at social media, because I'm like a little ping pong ball, and I just social media is like that. Like, my personality fits this lifestyle.
Yeah.
But yeah, I answer every call, because you just never know what the winning call be. And actually, kind of converse this. You're the marketer, so now you're calling somebody, and they're not answering.
Uh-huh.
No, answer your phone, people. It works for both sides. Think about this.
Of course.
So I love that we're just talking about this. So you say, now you have this on your site, and you talked about the banner advertising dying. Yeah, I never click on banner ads unless it says enter this sweepstakes.
I need more of those.
I haven't entered yet. So, and word of mouth is growing, of course. We know that. That's why all the social's doing so well.
Yes.
But where do you see it going? What's your take on it?
That's a great question. I see word of mouth. My mentor said the other day, he said, what this really is accelerated word of mouth. I was like, that's a great phrase.
Ooh, I like that.
Because I keep saying viral marketing, right? Or viral giveaway or viral sweepstakes or whatever. But if you say word of mouth, people understand that kind of right away, right? And sometimes when you say, like, especially what I've run into, and semantics are really crazy, right? If you say giveaway to many people that are in, say, entrepreneurs, they're used to the free ebook when you sign up, right?
Yes.
Many people call that a giveaway. And it's not the same thing to you and me, but that's what, because I've run into people and I explain to them that we're doing this viral thing and somebody's giving away a big prize and blah, blah, blah. And only one person's going to win. And they go, oh, I thought you were talking about the free ebook thing. I'm like,
yeah.
No.
You have to start using the word sweepstakes.
Yes.
Instead of, I know it's all the lingo. And also, if you're since you're in the photography realm, if it's a judged promotion, I use the word promotion a lot.
Right.
Judged promotion, then it's a contest.
Right. Because there's
involved, use the word contest. If it's a freebie, it's a sweepstakes. And I like the word giveaway.
Yeah. And so sometimes I feel like I named my website the wrong thing because I called it Giveaway Rocket.
No, it's fine.
But once you get past that, so still trying to answer your question about where is this going, I see more and more tools available, right? Like Rafflecopter was for a while about the only one, but now there's all kinds of tools. I actually had a new one. The owner approached me yesterday and said, I'd like you to test this and help us grow it and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, great. That means my exposure in this space is growing because he reached out to me. But giveaways are growing. People are starting to finally understand, sweepstakes promotions, because they're realizing, I mean, just like me, when I was telling you my story, I was like, I had no clue that if you, say you're doing Facebook marketing, right? You're an entrepreneur and you got a book or something you're trying to get out there, and you're paying typically $5 to $10 a lead to come in and sign up for whatever you're doing. And you turn around to a company and say, well, I've done the last 30 giveaways. Our average cost per lead is 30 cents. And they go, what? And so I see the market for doing sweepstakes growing, but the thing we have to be careful, like, you and I are both well attuned to it, is those people that are just going, well, I can use Rafflecopter and I'll wing it and I won't put the terms and conditions. So they'll do the crappy, really cheap giveaway.
Yeah, but I really like Rafflecopter. I'm one of their 17 ambassadors.
I'm not saying there's a problem with Rafflecopter. Don't get me
Yeah, I know
wrong.
what you mean though. But that one is for, everything has a place. That's for lower end sweepstakes. And it's fantastic for a blogger because everything's built in and they don't have to worry about some of the mechanics behind the scenes.
Sure.
Which is perfect for it. But if you've got a larger company, like you deal with these Fortune 500 companies, they shouldn't be using that low end of a marketing tool to run sweepstakes. They need to do something a little higher end.
But then you have the people. So I'm using a tool called UpViral that is one of my favorite tools. And I'm big in, there's a Facebook group, and I keep seeing people that come in and they go, well, I bought this tool and I only got 500 leads and I was expecting 100,000 because it's viral. My campaign didn't go viral. And you and I get a hold of these people and we're like, well, what was your offer? Where were you posting it? You know, there's all kinds of variables that go on. It's not just the tool. If you don't have an offer that's exciting to people, of course nobody's going to share it.
I know, and it's also where you post it. I offer a viral marketing service, a manual viral marketing service, and I've had clients and they give it to bloggers and they go, I had one last year and they were panicked because it was an agency and they told their client they were going to get this many entries in the sweepstakes. And they had only 6,000 entries in a very, niche sweepstakes. And they told the client, and they called me, there was only 3 weeks left, and they said, we need 16. And I'm like, I don't know if I can get 16. I said, I'm pretty sure I can get you up to 10. They go, do it, because we got to do something. Well, I really need to stop underestimating my worth as a marketer. It closed at 22,000.
Nice.
And they were ecstatic.
Yay.
So it's about, because the offer was good, it just nobody knew about it, and I just helped get the word out so that the people that were interested could hear the message and go, wow, that's amazing, and connect with that. And I said, oh my God, I did that in 3 weeks. If you'd given it to me at the beginning, it would have been exponential, and because it was a daily.
Nice.
So then it would have been exponential over the whole period of time.
Well,
so if we how many they would have got.
Yeah, and it's not always about numbers, right? We go back to the quality of the leads, because the horsey example.
Sometimes people like numbers.
Well, sure.
People like numbers.
Sure. The horsey example. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
The horse example that I was talking about before. She crossed 500 leads, which was her goal, and a lot of people would go, "Oh, well, that sucked. That didn't go viral. But she's ecstatic. She's like,
it is viral and it's not viral.
Well,
sometimes it's quality versus quantity.
Exactly.
And then also the other thing is, and it depends on, so there's two things here. One, I always tell the company, they always come and they go, you probably have the same experience. We want to run a sweepstakes. And I go, okay, so why? Well, I don't know. We got to do something. Well, no, you need a purpose. Are you trying to get brand awareness? Because then you want to just blast it everywhere just to get it in front of people's eyeballs. And then you want to have a daily entry because they see it every day. She was looking for very specific, she had a very specific purpose. She wanted to reach people that were so she had her purpose and she designed her sweepstakes around that purpose. So her 500 entries were successful because it was exactly what she was looking for.
Yep.
So are you trying to get Facebook likes? Are you trying to get, Instagram engagement? Are you trying to get subscribers to your YouTube channel? Do you want email subscribers? Do you want people to start reading your blog? Do you want people to buy your product? So have them enter and then give them a coupon at the end, something like whatever the purpose is, then you design the sweepstakes around that. And that's the problem. A lot of people just think it's something they need to do.
Right.
Because the marketing department needs to be busy.
Exactly.
You can't just do that. It makes me crazy. Like, why? Why do you want to run a sweepstakes?
somebody said it was working really well. That guy, Mitch, he said, don't pay $5 for a Facebook ad. Do a giveaway.
Well,
It's
I'm
Mitch's fault.
Yeah, I'm going to give you the piece of advice that I've been giving clients for years. So one of my favorite clients, I'm a little biased because I started out as his client and he was my mentor. And I found him in 2011. His name is Robert Ohado. And then I kept sending him unsolicited marketing advice.
Nice.
He would run a podcast and I'd be like, what's he talking about? And I'd fire off an email. After a while, he's like, I need to hire her. She knows what she's talking about. So then he became my client in 2014. So we did a little bit of a flip. And I said to him on one of the very first calls we had was, you need to own your marketing. Because he said, what do you mean? I said, because he was heavily relied on Facebook. And this was in 2014. And I said, what happens if Facebook disappears?
Yeah.
How are you going to reach your audience? You need to own your marketing. So number one thing that every one of your clients should be doing is driving people to their own email list. Number one, whatever the contest is, get signups. Always offer an extra entry for newsletter sign up. Always. Drive the traffic to the newsletter, because what happened a couple of weeks ago, Mitch, Facebook announced their algorithm change, and all the Facebook experts are calling it Facebook Zero. Now, unless you pay Facebook, no one's seeing your page at all. It's zero. You're getting zero organic anything. Right?
Yep.
I Facebook Live sometimes, and I pre-promote them if I'm doing like a sweepstakes Q&A. And those ones I do okay. I usually get 100 to 200 people live, and then, people watch it after, and they do okay. But I did a catch-up one just where I missed all the questions, because the feeds go so fast you can't read them. So I did one that was just catch-up, and I just did it at noon because it's just when I had time, and I thought, okay, I'll just do it. So I'll catch it up. And I didn't even pre-promote it, nothing. I had 7 viewers at one point. 7.
Nice.
Because it's Facebook Zero. Nobody's being notified of anything anymore. So now it is more important than ever to own your marketing.
Amen.
That's
Amen.
my 2 cents.
Amen. You're preaching to the choir there.
I know. I'm hoping some marketers are going to watch this and they learn.
But doesn't everybody these days say email's dead? Haven't you heard that a million times?
You know what? There's specialty email companies, and I think email is the way to go, because you're targeting people that are interested. Like I said, there's newsletters that I get. This is so I'm going to live a little bit of the behind the scenes. My open rate on my own newsletter is over 30%.
Nice. Which
is huge.
Big number.
Big number, because the average is 3 to 5%.
Yes.
So, I've got it going on. So, it's not dead. That's the thing. It's not dead.
I agree with you, but I'm just telling you that's what all the gurus say.
Well, it depends. See, now that's funny, because you talk to some gurus and email is not dead.
Of course.
But Facebook is dying, and honestly, I think, there's going to be a day it disappears. Like, what do you do if Facebook disappears?
It's very true, Carolyn, because I was just talking to another marketer this morning, and he's got this new thing he was showing me. I'm like, oh man, that's really cool. it's a chat bot kind of thing that he has installed on his website. And I said, so that's tied into Facebook, right? And he said, heck no. So I don't trust that Facebook's going to be there next year. So I was like, good for you, because
I still post on Facebook, and like lives, and I enter a lot of contests on Facebook, and I don't think there's anything wrong with Facebook. I'm just saying that you need to own your marketing, because if you don't own Facebook and you don't own the connections and the likes on Facebook, so if it disappears, all that effort is gone. Whereas if it's your email list, it's yours.
Exactly.
It's the same with the YouTube subscribers. It's the same with the Twitter followers. If one of them disappears, those are gone.
Exactly.
You don't own them.
Can I give you another tip?
Yes.
For those of you that are using your email list, back up your email list at least once a month. Because guess what? I was on MailChimp, and MailChimp one day said, we don't like you anymore, and didn't give me access to my email list until I begged and begged and begged and begged. So you could actually theoretically lose your email list. And so
That's
my
good
lesson
advice. Because
from that,
I was originally with Constant Contact.
yes,
And then it got too expensive. And through my divorce, we had a bankruptcy. It was a nightmare.
sorry.
So it's finished. Life is good. Everyone's got to do this, right?
Uh-huh. Exactly.
That's one of the reasons I found Robert, was because I was going through what he calls a dark night of the ego. He says people call it the dark night of the soul, but the soul's not dark, so it's dark night of the ego. It's the ego that's going through the transformation.
Very good.
We all get them. Isn't that fun, being on what he calls Earth School?
My father called it the School of Hard Knocks. Same thing, right?
Same thing. Different words, same thing. School of Hard Knocks. So I stopped using Constant Contact, and then someone said, why aren't you using MailChimp? It's free. So that's what I'm on now. But it never occurred to me to back it up. So now I'm going to be going to back that sucker up.
Yes. Download it at least once a month. It's simple to do. They give you the option to do that. But
I will. Yeah, it is easy. I like their platform. And it's funny. I like their whole little icon and mascot, and it's kind of fun.
The sweat when you're getting ready to push the button and his hand is sweating.
And then you send your email and it goes, high five.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun. I like it when companies play with their marketing. And
yes, I agree a lot.
So we'll see. Okay, so let's see. Where are we on the list? Oh my God, we're chatting. I love this.
6 hours later.
Oh, here's a good one we haven't talked about yet. What do you think sweepers will really motivate sweepers to share a campaign? Because a lot of people like to share it, but a lot of people feel these ones that give you referral entries, they don't do anything, because there's people that have some big numbers, and then they're the ones that get all the referral entries, like what you saw with what you did. You had like 24%. Didn't make you win, but still on average, like if you did that, say if you had that stat throughout the year, you would hit more than not, right?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I had a 1 in 4 chance of winning. So that's a fantastic question, because that's the thing that I've been trying to focus a lot on in terms of campaigns that I've been doing. And I learned something from 2 guys, Arthur and Tobin. Both are doing a similar thing in terms of the campaigns that I'm running. And that is to actually go and do what I'm kind of calling a trifecta. Instead of just offering one prize, what they advised and what I'm now doing is offering 3 prizes. So there's a grand prize, and they could all be the same prize, okay? They could be the same, or they could be different, doesn't matter. But the grand prize is the one that's the face, the one that you put on the lead page. And then you say, well, there's going to be a second place prize for the person who referred the winner. Okay, does that make sense? So if Carolyn enters and she refers Mitch, and Mitch wins the first prize, Carolyn wins the second prize.
You know what? I actually won once that. It was a contest to win gold coins. Yeah. And somebody won the 1 ounce gold coin. And because he entered off my link, right, I won a 1/2 ounce gold coin.
Perfect. So, and
I have not seen those contests. We should do more of those. So what's the third prize?
The third prize is, again, whatever prize, right? Whatever the value is, but it is based on points. Now, I don't particularly care for most points wins, right?
Yeah, no, those are bad, because actually,
I asked you about that on.
I have marketing books up there. There's a set of 5 of them, because I have all 5 editions. It's called Advertising and Marketing Law in Canada.
Right.
And it's written by lawyers. And I get invited to every time they do a new version, I get invited to the launch party, and I'm the only non-lawyer at the event. So the last time I was there, she called me out because they were going through the chapters and explaining what's been added since the last edition. They have a little presentation, they have hors d'oeuvres, they have cocktails and wine, and it's fun. And they said, hey, Carolyn, how do you feel about voting contests? I'm like, I hate them. They've actually had to write, they've had voting contests go awry, and the lawyers have had to write some of the entrants cease and desist orders.
Nice.
For like crazy ass stuff that's going on. And also, here's what I want you to try, and I tell people this. Go Google buy votes and see what happens. Never do voting contests. They are the worst. They have the biggest cheaters. They're just a nightmare for the sponsor, a nightmare. And all the entrants hate them because they, like, people, even me with the contest queen with my audience, I can't win those.
Exactly.
They're impossible. So I don't do them.
I agree with you 1,000% on every one of those issues for the main prize. Now, it also, I think, depends upon the tool that you're using. Again, I'm using a tool called UpViral. UpViral has fraud protection in it. So earlier you were talking about how you entered your ex-spouse and your 20 friends for a particular campaign.
Yeah.
UpViral would flag you as a spammer, fraudster, and I could push a button and you'd be gone.
Well, I would like to see that work, and I'll tell you why. Because WooBox also has fraud protection in it.
Okay.
If you are savvy enough on the computer, you can get around that. There is a cheating ring in Quebec that have been written about in the Journal de Montréal that were caught. And there was one particular contest that had 100,000 entries in it, and 60,000 were for this ring because the bot churns out new email addresses,
right?
IP masking, everything.
Okay.
Well, so that's what's scary. Is there's people there are people that will get around this, and there's people that now in photography contests. You're gonna love this. I wrote about it. Now I have to write a new blog. One of the things we've been telling people who do photo contests, that host the photo contest, is that they need to do the Google image search. And there was a guy that was like flipping them and doing all this stuff, and people were figuring it out. And then there's people that have been photoshopping them, and like people are, it's crazy.
Yep.
There was one by Nikon, and the guy had this shot like perfect, and it had an airplane in the middle, and it turned out he'd done this and it was so bad you could see the pixels. And they had awarded him the prize. Nobody checked the image, and all the entrants were like looking at this winning image going, oh my God, he did this. They called the guy. He goes, yeah, I shot that. He goes, I could never get that shot. He admitted it. I go, oh my God.
Sure.
So now what people are doing, I found out, is they're taking pictures off of Facebook and using them because you can't search photos on Facebook. So they won't come up in the Google image search.
Nice.
And you can't search Facebook for it either. So now there's no way to check those images to see if they're owned by the owner. There's always ways around it. That's what scares me. So I love that UpViral has this, but I would love to see, I would never 100% trust it. I tell companies to always manually go through and scan.
Sure.
And I don't like the whole IP address thing, because what if I'm at the library and entering? Or what if I'm entering from work? There's going to be lots of people with the same IP. So you can't even go by that, especially in public places.
Right.
So that's my other rant for the day.
and those are incredibly valid concerns, because you don't want somebody that's getting 60% of all the entries.
Right.
And I don't know all the ins and outs of the UpViral algorithm, but one of the primary drivers is the IP address. And so what happens is that if you did it from your home and you enter your ex-spouse and your 20 friends, you're going to get flagged. because most people aren't sophisticated enough to know how to rotate their IP addresses or
Oh, well,
go
actually,
over to
I
China
have
or
it.
whatever.
Yeah, my antivirus thing says, hey, you should be running a VPN. Use
Right.
ours.
Yes. And the VPN will work, but you would have to disconnect and reconnect and disconnect and reconnect because it would assign you a different VPN different IP address every time. And we're not giving away secrets here. I mean, we're not telling people how to cheat, right?
Well, see, again,
But,
I talk to the sponsors and they don't consider, as long as you're following the rules,
right.
right? So yes, it might be the same IP address, but if you saw me and a spouse or whatever, or a best friend from the same IP address, and I had like 3 entries in because I thought the prize, you know, say it was a girls' getaway, and I
Right.
entered me and my 2 best friends because I thought, okay, if any of us wins, the other, we're going to all take each other. You know,
I agree. I wouldn't.
database, would you delete us? Yes or no?
No, I wouldn't.
No, see, I wouldn't either. I check. I'm looking for same addresses, same name. Like you can tell when somebody has entered themselves like 6 times and they change like their go first initial and then,
Right.
you know, same name. And then they have like 3 email addresses that are kind of close together. They kind of look the same. Then it starts to go, yeah, no,
Yeah,
no.
exactly. Yes. And, you know, with UpViral, an email goes out to those people and says, hey, warning, it looks like you're trying to cheat. And I get people all the time writing me back going, I'm not cheating. I'm just entered my husband, you know, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, it's okay. We're just trying to prevent the 60,000 or whatever entries
Yeah, the
from going
crazy
on.
number. Yeah,
Right.
I've had agencies call me and say, hey, do you know this person? I'm like, no, I haven't heard that name before. They go, yeah, they have 20,000 entries in the sweepstakes. Like we wouldn't notice in the database.
Yeah.
Like, and they didn't even mask it. It wasn't like they had different names. No, just one person, 20,000.
Nice.
That's the other reason you never put the term unlimited entries in your contest.
Nice. Good point.
No unlimited. Because then you get somebody that goes, hey, I can do that unlimited.
Yeah.
And like, oh my God.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to tell the client, hey, we got 30,000 entries in that contest. And they go, fantastic. And you go, yeah, 28.5 of them are from Bob. You know?
Bob with the blue shirt. Yeah. So were we talking about a specific thing and got distracted? I don't remember where we are.
Yeah, I don't know. I like we might have to do this again like in 6 months, because before the call, why don't you tell people, why don't you give them a sneak preview of what's coming up with your website. So just give people a little overview of what Giveaway Rocket is right now and what you're taking it to in, say, the next few months. And then we'll do another call.
Great.
And we won't wear blue.
Huh. Well, that'll be a challenge. Giveaway Rocket.
Blue.
Okay.
So tell us about Giveaway Rocket.
Giveaway Rocket is my home base. In my story about my childhood, I was into astronomy.
Oh, cool.
And so for those of you watching, I mean, if you see it on the screen, it says Planet Mitch. Part of my story was that I got tired of using my first initial and last name on email addresses because nobody could understand what it spelled or anything. So I came up with something. So Planet Mitch I found was available, and I started using that. So I started doing my photography blog is called Planet 5D. I think I mentioned that before. So I kind of stuck with this astronomy kind of motif, which is why I came up with Giveaway Rocket, which also implies that you're going to, you know, blast off with your leads, blah, blah, blah. But as I said, I started out because I just wanted to be able to approach vendors and say, here's my website, here's some case studies of giveaways we've done and you know, the kind of numbers that we're able to generate, blah, blah, blah. And then I started learning about the partnership side of it. So I created a tab in there for partners to try to attract partners to be able to do stuff. And then I haven't really explored the contestant side of it, but I'm creating a membership side. Initially, I'm starting out just to create a membership, a free membership that will have A lot of the videos that I do, most of them are specifically up viral related, but they're going to turn into more of things, tools in general. I also typically do, there'll be a whole section on Macintosh tips and tricks and stuff like
Okay,
that.
so we want to be clear that this giveaway rocket's more for marketers.
Yes.
And not entrants. Because,
Correct.
you know, we're going to promote, we're going to let people know that this is marketing based.
Correct.
Okay. Because
eventually,
giveaway rocket, I know that my audience will be like flocking to it going, where are the sweepstakes? Like, no. But I know there's a lot of bloggers that follow me that want to run sweepstakes that could get, you know, advice from you, and small business owners. Like, we're all people, right? So
yes.
Those people, if you know, want to go and check it out and see what you have to offer there.
The long term, and maybe this applies more to when we chat again in 6 months, is that I'm hoping to tie in more of the contestant side of it, in that I feel like if I can figure out a way to draw people in that way, maybe have a list, right? So if I'm starting to build campaigns for clients, then wouldn't it be nice if people had a way to come in and find their campaigns?
Yeah, you should have a page. We'll have a page. You can have a page where all the ones that you're making for your clients are on the site. So if people want to see what Mitch is working on for, you know, XYZ client, they can come in and
exactly. And
you can have a giveaway page for all your clients. And it's another way for you to promote your client sweepstakes, is to have a one-pager.
Yeah, so that's where I want to go. I don't have anything like that right now, but that's kind of one of the things I want to do.
Okay, good. So people can bookmark it. And also, when people follow me, I announce all this stuff. Like, whenever any of the, you know, like aggregates have an update or announce something new, or any of the websites change, I post those on my Contest Queen, and I blog about, depending on the scope of them, I might blog about it. I might interview somebody. So, you know, when those changes come, just make sure you let me know, and I'll let my audience know that, hey, super, Mitch has just added this feature. You might want to go check it out.
Well, see, and I love that. I will tell you that in the photography blog world, there are some people, and I could list a whole bunch of names, but I'm not gonna. But this is true for any industry. There are those people that like to be, this is my website, and I'm not going to share anything about anybody else in the industry. It's just me and my readers. And then there's me and a whole bunch of other people, very much like you, who are like, look, if we can help this blog, or if I can help that blog, that helps me, and it helps my readers, and it helps them. So why don't we all work together and raise our level, as opposed to being these isolationists? I
love that. Two things that I always say. It's a win-win-win. Well, hello, Contest Queen. We like that.
Yes.
It's business, right? And the other thing is, I like all boats rise with the tide.
Yep.
So that's how I try and run my business, right?
Exactly.
All boats rise with the tide. So I think it's kind of cool. And I loved having you today, because I always talk about the sweepstakes entrance side of it. I love connecting with fellow marketers. And I think it's also great that my audience gets to kind of peek behind the curtain, you know, a little bit of Wizard of Oz, you know, look behind the curtain and see what the marketers are doing. And, you know, and also for the sweepers that are watching, if you have any questions for the marketers, post them below. And maybe even, we won't wait so long. Maybe Mitch and I'll come back on and we'll do like a sweepstakes, or I'll get you to be a guest on my next sweepstakes Q&A session.
Okay.
You can both answer questions from the audience. That'll be fun.
Sure.
So let's wrap this up. Of course, you got to win something when you watch the Contest Queen. So I'm going to give away a copy of my book. You have until February 24th to enter, 2018. Rules will be below or above, depends on Facebook or YouTube. And just send an email to enterme@contestqueen.com. So ENTERME@contestqueen.com. And in the body of the email, put your name and phone number. And in the subject, put the word book. So I know that it's this prize that you're trying to win. And So I want to say, don't forget to subscribe to me or like me or
Oh, I like you.
like me.
Did you
And
tell it?
don't miss. Sorry.
I apologize. I interrupted you. Did you
Oh,
tell them how you and I really started talking? Do you
oh
remember?
yeah, we started talking because he came on a Facebook Live. This monkey here came on Facebook Live, asked some brilliant questions, and then won a prize.
Yay, me! I won a prize in a giveaway.
I know, and I was so busy I didn't send them the prize for a while. That's the problem. I have this list of to-dos. Like if people saw my to-do list, it's like a whole page. I'm like, okay, this is what I have to do today. So you have until the 24th. So make sure you subscribe. I'm going to put all the links below. And I want to thank you, Mitch, for being my guest today and tuning into With the Contest Queen, where the winning begins.
Thank you. I enjoyed being here.
Bye.